They say snakes only strike when provoked, but what if the real venom comes from the one holding the leash? During a quiet family camping night, my 8-year-old son, Ethan, screamed, and I found a cobra slithering from his tent, not a wild mishap, but a weapon unleashed by our HOA president. She meant to terrify him, maybe worse. But when I gripped that same snake, I realized it no longer feared her, and neither did I. Want to see what happens when a predator plays with poison? I made her taste it, fangs first. Ethan was bursting with pride over his little tent, crafted from tarp, sticks, and old paracord I'd brought. He'd spent the morning building his fortress, as he called it, even tying a tiny flag to the top. The HOA's community camping weekend had just started, and while others unpacked, my son had claimed his corner of the world. Then she arrived, Margaret Walsh, marching in a silk scarf, clipboard clutched like a scepter, her face twisted in disdain. "What is that?" she hissed, looming over Ethan's creation like it insulted her lineage. "It's my tent, ma'am," Ethan said, voice shaky but polite. "I built it." She clicked her tongue. "This area is for approved tents only. That's not up to HOA standards." "It's not hurting anyone," I said, stepping forward. "He's just a kid having fun." She ignored me, kicking the tent's front post. It collapsed. Ethan gasped, lunging to save it. That's when she slapped his hand hard, a deliberate crack across his small knuckles. He stumbled back, knees scraping gravel, staring up, not in pain but betrayal. I snapped. "What the hell's wrong with you?" I roared, shielding him. "You hit a child." Margaret crossed her arms. "And what'll you do, David Reed? Call the HOA board?" "I am the board." Campers watched, parents, teens, silent. Ethan held his red hand, tears brimming but unshed, his tent a crumpled heap. I knelt beside him. "We'll rebuild, buddy," I whispered. Margaret leaned closer, her voice a venomous hiss. "Teach your brat respect, or someone will." Her mini breath carried a threat. Something in me broke, not fear, not rage, but a cold, calculated resolve. I didn't just want her punished, I wanted her to beg. By afternoon, the campground hummed with laughter, sizzling grills, and marshmallow roasts, but peace was a lie under Margaret's reign. Her tent, a gaudy monument twice others' size, draped in linen with gold-stitched HOA logos, stood like a tyrant's palace. Before it sat a woven basket, sealed with leather, labeled HOA property, do not touch, in red tape. It unnerved me. She guarded it like a dragon, barking at kids who strayed near. When little Sophie wandered close, Margaret snapped, "This isn't a playground. Control your kid." Her voice was a blade sharp, smug. Ethan, hands still red, drew in the dirt beside me. His innocence wasn't just bruised, it was hunted. Margaret patrolled, tearing down kites, unplugging speakers, citing noise violations in a forest. "She's crazy," a dad muttered. "No," I said, "she's deliberate. That basket, she never left it unguarded." I caught her whispering to her lackey, Tom, who glanced at our tent. I stood. "What's in the basket, Margaret?" She didn't flinch, smirking. "Wouldn't you like to know?" "I'm not asking," I growled, closing the gap. She raised a finger. "Touch it, and it's trespassing. Bylaws, page 27, section 4. Your rules don't shield you," I said. She leaned in. "They do more than you think." Her eyes were cold, predatory. She didn't just dislike kids, she relished their fear, my fear. Whatever was in that basket wasn't camping gear, and her glance at Ethan said she wasn't done. Night fell, string lights twinkling, fire pits crackling, but dread gnawed at me. I left Ethan in our tent with his sketch pad and flashlight for 5 minutes to grab jackets from the car. 5 minutes too long. His scream pierced the dark, raw, and primal. I sprinted, boots pounding, hard icing over. I tore open the tent flap. Ethan thrashed on the ground, clutching his leg, face contorted. His eyes met mine, speechless with terror. Beside his sleeping bag, a black-scaled cobra coiled, but flared, tongue flicking. I grabbed our metal lantern and slammed it down, startling the snake. It slithered into the dark. I scooped Ethan up, his leg purple, twin punctures clear. "Call 911. I roared. "Snake bite a cobra." Campers screamed. Phones out, someone yelling for a ranger. I turned to Margaret, standing at the camp's edge, arms crossed, face unreadable. "Was that your basket's secret?" I barked. She tilted her head. "What basket?" I marched toward her, Ethan trembling in my arms. "The one you guarded all day, labeled HOA property." She whispered, If your brat hadn't defied me, he'd be sketching now. The world stopped. Say that again, I growled. She leaned in. Play stupid games, win deadly prizes. Tom tugged her arm, whispering, but she waved him off, eyes locked on mine. You're lucky I don't end you here, I said. Funny, she hissed. I was thinking the same. I stepped back, rage boiling. She tried to kill my son. This wasn't for the police, this was war. Paramedics were 10 minutes out. Ethan's breathing shallowed, skin pale, sweat dripping as I held him by the fire pit. Mrs. Larson, a retired nurse, offered ice and a belt tourniquet. My eyes stayed on Margaret, statue still, smirking. Where's the anti-venom? I shouted. What HOA doesn't stock kits for a wilderness camp? She didn't blink. If your son stayed in the safety perimeter, this wouldn't have happened. You put a Cobra in his tent. Her brow arched. Allegedly. Don't hide behind that word. I roared. I saw it. She crossed her arms. Making a scene in front of your dying son? Ethan's grip weakened on my sleeve. I handed him to Mrs. Larson. Keep his eyes open. I lunged at Margaret, grabbing her HOA jacket, shoving her into her folding table. It splintered. Her clipboard flew. Tom rushed me. I elbowed his ribs, dropping him. Margaret scrambled back, screaming. I could snap your neck, I hissed, towering over her. You'll go to jail, she spat. I'll smile doing it. You tried to murder my kid. She reached under her jacket, pulling a silver canister. Insecticide sprayed, burning my eyes and throat. I staggered, coughing, tears streaming. She bolted for her tent. Coward, I spat, wiping my face, chasing her. Campers parted as I stormed to her silk-draped tent, her shadow vanishing inside. As the ambulance took Ethan, sirens fading, my fear hardened into purpose. Ignoring the crowd's gasps and phones, I spotted the Cobra by our fire pit, twitching near the warmth. With a fire glove, I seized it by the neck, squeezing until it went limp, not dead, just stunned. I marched to Margaret's tent, tore open the flap. She screamed, clutching her phone. I'm recording. I stepped in, Cobra writhing. You're insane, she shrieked, backing into her cot. I threw the snake. It landed on her chest. She flailed, but the Cobra, enraged, bit her cheekbone. Her scream was primal, knocking over propane lanterns. Fire licked the tent's edge as she thrashed, the snake dropping away. I stepped out as flames spread, her agony echoing. She'd survive, but she'd never forget the bite or the fire. The blaze consumed her tent like paper, flames dancing orange against the trees. Campers froze, torn between horror and justice. Tom tried to rush in. She'll burn. I slammed him against a tree. She put a Cobra in my son's tent. She earned this. Margaret stumbled out, hair half-burned, face swollen, arm blistered, dress smoldering. She collapsed, sobbing, "Help me." I crouched before her ruined face. Now you know what Ethan felt when your snake bit him. She whimpered. It was just to scare him. You smiled as he screamed. I growled, yanking her up by her collar. You love control? I hissed. Control this. I dropped her into the mud, groaning, soot-choked. Fire crews arrived, extinguishers hissing, but I walked away. What happened? Someone yelled. Justice, slow-roasted, I said, hands reeking of smoke and snake. Medics wrapped Margaret in foil blankets, her face a grotesque mask of venom and burns, hair melted, lips cracked. She clung to her clipboard, rasping, they trespassed. Shut up, I snapped, ash-stained. You tried to kill my son. You'll pay, she wheezed. I already did. Ethan's in a hospital because of you. Campers stared. Mrs. Larson speaking up, she smiled when he screamed. Another added, she called the Cobra a lesson. The fire marshal approached. Ma'am, you're under investigation for endangerment, wildlife violations, and arson. Margaret's eyes bulged. I'm the HOA president. Not anymore, he said. A deputy cuffed her, her screams echoing as she was dragged away, clipboard falling into the mud. In court, Margaret faced charges: child endangerment, arson, illegal wildlife possession. Her plea, not guilty. Her lawyer claimed it was an educational display gone wrong. I stood, voice thunderous. She smuggled a Cobra to punish my son and smiled as he suffered. A miner's GoPro footage sealed at Margaret undoing the basket, smirking, it'll scare him. The courtroom gasped. The judge's voice was steel. That's intent. Margaret slumped. Sentenced to 27 years, no parole, in a prison with no clipboards to shield her. Ethan, Recovering, still had nightmares, waking gasping, "Dad, the snake." His leg healed, but trust lingered like a scar. Neighbors shared their own story fines for humming, locked up dogs, spied on kids. The HOA dissolved, replaced by a volunteer council. Ethan drew a Cobra, protector, on our wall, not fear but resilience. We rebuilt his tent, bigger, under a sunset sky, on the campground's bare earth where Margaret's burned. "Can we make it stronger?" he asked. "Always," I said. "Margaret's venom didn't break us, it forged us. Her fire didn't destroy, it exposed her." Power twisted into cruelty dies when faced with truth. Have you faced a tyrant hiding behind rules? Share below. Your story might spark courage.